Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Automation Expert Training. I'm your host, Leandro Romada, and in this video what we're going to see is how we can use the composites in our solution. So let's go to the presentation. So far we have seen that the basic function block that we have created before have this kind of a structure. So let's recap a little bit more. So in the top part, we have the events, and we have inputs and outputs. Then we have in the bottom part, we have the data inputs and outputs. Okay, so you can see over here, data in green and the events in orange in this case. So inside the function block, we have already seen that we have like a diagram state diagram of our machine. So depending of the event inputs, we can trigger an algorithm. That's why we have this interaction over here. And inside the algorithm, we have the something familiar that we have in our case is the IEC 61131, which is as we program, for example, in Machine Expert or Control Expert. But the only language available is the structure test. Okay, so now imagine that we want to connect these basic function blocks. One way to do it is by using the composite. Okay, as you can see here, I'm using 3 different function blocks. In blue is the events that are coming from one side to the other one, and in gray is the other one for the data. Okay, so basically this is the idea of the composite. The idea of the composite is I can define the interface of what I want, okay, the inputs and outputs for event and data, and then inside I can use the function blocks that I had created before or the one that came on the library in our solution. So in order to create a composite is very simple, it's the same as we have done before with the function blocks. Okay, with the basic and the adapters, we just right click on composite and select new item, and in there we should be able to name the name of this composite. Now, as I mentioned before, you have the view that explains you over here, and if you take a look over here, there are a few things that we need to configure, that are the inputs and outputs. Okay, that is the interface, so it's gonna be the interface side of our composite. And then the other part that we need to do once we have the inputs and outputs is the function blocks. Okay, so this can be seen in this way. So as soon as we open this composite, okay, we should be able to see the interface and the function blocks. So the interface will help us to identify the inputs and outputs here, 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 and here. And the function blocks is the one that's going to, okay, I have those inputs and outputs, and then just put some blocks in there and make our logic. So the idea of this part is for you to compare the basic with this composite. The basic, what it has, as I show you, it has the execution controller and algorithms. Here on the composite, we have the interface, okay, which is this one is the same. It's the interface of the function block or the composite. Okay, but what it changed is this part, function blocks, which is different compared to this one, because the idea is, as I mentioned before, it's like having the atom, okay, the basic, it has the state machine, and you configure the minimum amount of data, the code that you have in there, okay, and then the composites allow you to group some of those function blocks that you have created together. Okay, so basically that's the idea. That's why you have different things inside. Okay, now knowing this, once you create a composite, okay, you have the same look and feel as the other one. Okay, and something important here, you have adapters, okay, socket and plugs that you can use in there to easily share the information as I showed you before. But the identification of the events and data is the same as you have before. And inside, once you are inside the function block, okay, you should be able to see different kind of elements that are regarding to the inputs and outputs. And here you can see init and request depend on the we have configured. Okay, we have these two, this one for the events, and this one for the output. So inside the code, we should be able to see the interface. Okay, so now what we need to do is to add logic in there to program. So the idea is to play a little bit more with this. So what we're going to do is to make some kind of calculation, add subtraction, okay, addition and subtraction. So how we can do this? So let me just share with you this one, okay, which is our application. So right click, new item, see calculation. We already done this function block during the environment state, but it's not mandatory in this case to do it. Let's just use what we have the standard. So what I'm going to do is to create two events to trigger the execution of the calculation. So I'm going to use the event addition and event subtract. Okay, here just the event confirmation, and then here we need to add two inputs. I'm going to delete this one and this one. So bar 1 and bar 2, this one's gonna be real outputs are results. Okay, and real. So as you can see here, the characters here are in italic. So I believe it's italic. So it means that there is no link between the inputs, the data, with the events in order to read that information. Okay, so what we need to do is to link them. So one way to do is to select over here with, and then you have all this part, or you just select the variable that you want and drag them. As you can see, you have that icon over there. And as soon as you change that, okay, drag and drop it, you should be able to see that the way of the letter change. You can see there is no more italic, I believe is the name. So and I'm going to do the same for the subtraction. Okay, you can see it's linked, and the result is going to be with the output. Okay, so basically that's it. So if we save this, okay, now here we can see more information. So far we have configured the interface of our composite. Now we just need to go to the function block, and in the function block you can see that we have the two events and the real and the two real variables. So we can make all this part over here. Now if we pay attention on this chart, okay, this part is already complete. As you can see, the elements, how we link it together. Now here you can see there are some predefined function blocks, okay, to add and to subtract. So let's try to do it. So in order to add them, you can right click, and then you can go to FB and select what you want, but I always forget where is the location of this. Okay, so you can add over here, common process, and I don't remember what is them. But if you don't remember, as in my case, okay, function block, I don't remember where they are. I believe common system standard here, and you have the add. Okay, so let me just show again. FB runtime base IC, no, sorry, my bad, runtime standard, and you have add. If you want to avoid all this until you find what you want, you can press Ctrl W and then just enter what you want, A, B, D, and there we go. Much easier that way. So the other one is going to be subtract. So you can go over here, front and base, and standard, and subtract. Okay, or Ctrl W, subtract. Okay, so now we need to execute this part. So in order to execute the request for the add, we just need to use the event for request, this part, to execute this. And then what we need to do is to add or use the information from the variables. Just drag like this. Okay. So the same can be applied for the subtraction. Okay. Just need to add this element over here. And you can organize the data much better. Okay. So this is how you can make the addition and subtraction. Now, what we need to do also is to send the confirmation that this is done in case we want to do something. So one way is to do this, but it doesn't allow you to connect this one. Okay, so we cannot link to the same part, the same confirmation. So we need something here to add. That something is this element, ds_select, that allowed us to select, okay, the variable that we want to show, depend on the output of the sub or the add. Okay, so ds_select dx. Let's go back. So Ctrl W, ds_select, and we have this. So now, oops, the idea is to add this block. Okay, you can see, and it creates different parts. So here we can link the different requests. So depending on the request, different is going to be the result that it's going to show. The output is only one, as you can see, and now we need to link the output of each element. Now, as you have seen here, there are some indications, okay, in yellow and in red. So if you pay attention over here, okay, you can see that the result is different. Okay, the result is in LReal and is in real. Okay, and here is any type. So what we need to do is to configure the outputs of these elements. Okay, so right here, right click, interface editor. Here you can select the input it's going to be real, and the result is going to be real. Here the same, and real. Now still the question mark, the exclamation mark. Okay, we need to configure this part also. So right click, interface editor, and here we just need to define the variable that we're going to have. It's going to be, just take a look, what is real? Real. And there we go. Now it's working fine. So as soon as one of these functions is triggered, it will send a request over here, and here we just need to use this one. So it's like combination. Any of those will trigger this one, and we will continue with the code. Now, if you pay attention here, it's the same. Okay, but there are a few things that I add in here, which are the frames. So if we go to the application once again, if we right click, you'll be able to see frame, add frame. This frame we can configure, okay, add over here, separate a little bit more, and one good thing is that everything inside this will move. So instead of selecting everything, we just select the frame. And if we double click on the frame, we should be able to name the frame and also assign a text result that you can see over there. And then in properties, I believe you can play a little bit more if I'm not wrong. No, we just need to double click on this one and we should be able to see the frame properties. Okay, we can play a little bit more with the text and fonts and everything. Okay, so in that case will help us to identify the code in just to follow the code much better. Okay, that's why it's good to know that we have the frames. Now let me see something here. So what I want to show you is how we can use this function block. So once you have the composite, you need to use the composite in an application. So drag and drop the composite in an application, and then you just need to give an instance name for that composite. So we're gonna cover later how we can do that part, but I just want to show you the result, the final result. So I have done in another application this. So I'm calling the function block here, okay, in order to call. And you can see I have the calculation, I have result, event result, and the two events for the add, subtraction, and then I have two variables over here. Now, if you pay attention on this element over here, this one, this one, and this one are related to display, to make something in the HMI, okay? So just to show you this, how it works, I have emulated the HMI part. So it's going to be this part over here. Okay, this one I'm going to show you later, but this is the part I want to show you. So if you pay attention here, you can see the inputs, the numbers are 0 and 0 and the result 0, which is fine. I'm not doing anything yet. So if I change this value, for example, number 6, apply, okay, you can see that the input is still 0, okay, which is fine, and the result is 0, okay. It's fine because I haven't triggered anything yet. So, but this element over here, variable 1, is linked to this element over here. And if you pay attention, I have the number 6. Now, let's add another value over here, okay? So this one over here is going to be number 4. Okay, and close. You can see that both element and the output has the number that I want, but here the input, it doesn't do anything because I haven't triggered the events here. So if I add this, you should be able to see the values over here and the result. Okay, for 6, 4, and number 10. You can see over here the number 10. Okay, so this is a little bit the idea of changing this value. So if I change this again, for example, to 1, apply. Even if I already select the add, it doesn't do anything, okay, because I haven't triggered the event. Now, if I use subtraction, it moves the 1 over here, and I have the number 5. Okay, so this is just an example how you can create a composite. Okay, what we're going to see later is how we can create the cut. The cards are going to be useful because we can create the same as a function block with the same composite, but we have a graphical component that we can add in our solution. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.